Thank y'all for joining me. Joining me in this Let's Talk. We have the Queen Jackie, and we actually have my man Shanku Shah. How y'all doing today?
Doing
How
great.
you doing?
Good,
Going pretty
good,
good.
good. And we got Uncle Sheldon. He jumped out, but he's gonna be jumping back on, and so we can address the elephant in the room. So we can address the elephant in the room.
Oh
And the
goodness.
elephant in the room is the slap. The slap.
Mhm.
Slap.
The slap. How do you feel about the slap now? I feel all kinds of ways about it, but I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start off with you, Jackie. Um, what was your take on it? Like how was it when you first saw it, and now that you had a chance to actually think about it, what do you really feel about it?
Mhm. So at first, I thought maybe this was part of the show, right? And then I realized it wasn't. So I think because Jada has been so vocal about her alopecia and her insecurities um, revolving the medical condition, I understand being a comedian, but I still thought that perhaps maybe it was in poor taste. Um, that's one side of it, but he is a comedian.
Yeah, he
I
does this all
think,
the time.
yeah, so I'm not taking that away. But again, she's been vocal about the condition and how she feels about it. So perhaps that could have been tweaked a little bit. Um, I think in regards to Will, maybe he felt like that's what he had to do at the time. I feel like sometimes we hold people at a higher standard, but at the end of the day, we're still human and have a lot of emotions. I think it may have been a bit bigger than that. I think there must have been some other things going on, but it doesn't make me feel any less about Will. He had a moment. Let's move past it. I don't feel like it should be something that is ongoing. It happened, fine. Deal with it. Let's move on. That's how I feel on
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. You know, what you feel about it, Shannon? Before I even say anything, because it's like
it.
it's
Yeah, I'm gonna
like
I
go.
know he got a
I'm
lot
gonna
to
go ahead in,
say.
man. I'm gonna go ahead in. Honestly, but I'm gonna try to always be fair. Always try to be fair, right?
okay.
It's a
Hmm.
lot. It comes from so many. I can come from so many different angles. So let me just pick one. All right. Will has been like a dumpster, taking all this stuff, taking all these
Yes.
memes,
Yes.
all this stuff. And he's been holding. He's been trying to keep his poker face, and
Hmm.
his ego with that night, with the slap, with that joke, his ego was like, well, when his wife looked at him, it gave him that look. It was
Hmm.
almost like a puppet master type of thing.
Yeah.
He knows that look. She probably said, "You never stand up for me." They probably already had that talk. She probably feels that Will don't protect her. I don't know. It's been a lot of stuff, but he just went up there and smacked him, which I totally disagree, right? And I understand. I'm glad that his heart was in the right place to do that because if that's your wife, then you need to be on those type of terms. Like you need to be ready for stuff like that, moments like that. Every wife that's deserving of that, that should be what you should do. That still doesn't. That wasn't the right thing to do.
No.
Some women
Right.
are.
Right.
Some women, they deserve that. They deserve that type of protection and that type of guy that would do something like that. But some women, some wives don't. I think in the Bible, it says something like, wives, honor, honor and respect your husbands. Well, she hasn't been the most honorable she has an honor and respected Will. To how I've seen things and how I view some of the things she said, like Will has never, and to the world, Will has never gave her an orgasm. Will does not stimulate her in the bedroom. Will has a little penis. Will, she still fantasizes about Tupac. Will could never come close to Tupac. Will is even if they did open up their relationship to sleep with other people, you chose to sleep with a young man that is a family friend. Like, how are you honoring and respecting your husband and you slept with the family friend? All these men across the world you could have slept with, and you sleep with the nigga under my roof? Woman, are you crazy? And I'm supposed to just jump out there and slap a nigga over you after you have just totally disrespected me? You don't honor me, you don't respect me, and it's hell no, never will. She didn't deserve all that. Did she deserve, at first, she deserved keep your name, keep my wife's fucking mouth, excuse my language, or just walk back and talk to the man. But she didn't deserve that. Now, there are wives deserve that. I still don't agree with walking to a guy and smacking him on stage in front and making just black America,
look crazy,
black excellence look bad, right? Because it was a shame on black excellence across the board, right? So, but there are women that deserve stuff like that, like Kobe's wife. If Kobe would have did that, his wife never shames him in a public eye. If Barack was to do something like, Michelle has never dishonored or disrespected Barack in a public eye. So there are women that are deserving of that. But some of these women, a lot of women out here that just shame their husband in public, dishonor their husband in public, don't respect their husband in public, and these women, like they do this all the time, and they want a guy that's going to do that, and you dishonor him? Hell no. I've been incarcerated before with guys that's in this situation right now, right? They're locked up. I'm gonna tell you what happens because I've seen it with my own eyes. Seen a guy banging the phone, boom, 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 when the phone just dropped. I can't believe it. He's zapping out. Everybody, what's wrong with him? He comes out. He's talking to his girl. He's doing, he got his time, his year, 2 years, 50 years, 85 years, life sentence, protecting her. And she, and on the phone, she tells him, I didn't tell you to do that.
Yeah.
Or she's only around for a couple weeks, couple months, and she's bouncing with the next dude. And here you are protecting her, and she's gone. So you need to watch guys who are so quick and have a hair trigger to protect your woman. You really need to think about who you're jumping out there for. Because I don't think your wife may not be worth doing time over. Because I'm telling you, they will leave you. And then they'll throw it in the back of your face. I didn't tell you to do that. And that's going that right there is when it hit, it's gonna hit you like nothing before. You better be sure that you're rocking with the right woman to jump out there for like that.
That's why you have to be the head, and you have to know you can't move emotionally like that, right?
Right.
Now first let me say this about Will. I actually, besides that day, right? Everybody has their day, but I think that was a breakdown, right?
Definitely a breakdown.
As a person, I like Will. I didn't got a lot of information from Will. I respect Will as a man. I'm not talking about this incident, right? This incident was poor taste at its finest, right? You have a comedian. There's a reason why we don't sit on the front seat when we go to comedy clubs. We already know what time it is. So when we get so sensitive, right? First of all, nobody even cares about how the black man feel. Nobody on earth. Like when do we get to the point, right, that we so sensitive about everything that it didn't got to this point, right? Now, I think that, now this is just my opinion. I'm not in his business, but from what I can see, the biggest scenario of this situation is a woman controlling that house. And in the woman controlling that house, see, you got people out here that has different sexual relationships in their relationship, and it still don't end up like that. This is a situation. Right. This is a situation of a woman controlling a house. She is the husband, and another thing I see is that he loves her more than she loves him.
Oh,
so
can I hop in right there?
So
can I say something on that?
Oh, go ahead. Let me come back. Okay, go ahead. I know that was going.
Because I just want to touch on that right there, right? It's this thing going around. It's coming. It's this thing going around with women, right? And they're saying right now, you got to get with a guy that loves you more than you love him in order for it to work.
Now they won't stay. Now see, this is the thing with that, Shannon. They won't stay with this dude, right? That feels like that because he is feminized as far as they're concerned, right?
Right.
They're asking for something they don't really want. Remember when we was having this conversation on the Kingdom? We was like, do you really want the world that you actually asked him for? Like, what does the world look like after you get what you say you want, right?
Right.
Now, what did Jada world look like? Like the reason why she can have all this money, right, and still, like you said, do some of the things that she actually do with a no kick to her, but it is what it is. It's because she was empowered to rule over this relationship by the way life circumstances presented themselves and by Will. And Will loved her so much, right? This is where love become imbalanced. He loved her so much that he let her take in control because you can hear some of the stuff he say. Right? So when you let somebody take that control, now you're putting a woman in control, and a woman is emotional by nature. So she might feel this way one day and feel this way the other day. And you can't blame her for the reason why you're sitting in jail forever and she done left you, because you're the head. Your brain's supposed to be able to make sound decisions. So you're supposed to be, is this a smacking moment? Because I'm not smacking nobody just to make her feel good. I'm smacking this person because my wife is in jeopardy. My wife is not in jeopardy at a comedy club, right? What puts me more at jeopardy? If somebody called, I believe if you attack me with words, I aggress back with words. And if you attack me physical, I aggress back physical. Let's think about this now. Okay, so a man calls your woman a B. I hold off my woman and say, look, you better go ahead. You better go ahead. He talking stuff. I'm talking stuff with sense, backing her up. I get into a fight with him, get into some type of shootout with him or something like that. I die. Is she left unprotected? Is she protected? No. She is vulnerable and unprotected. If it was a situation where something, so the most vulnerable way that you could find me is if I'm with my woman or with somebody I care about, because my decisions now got to be so calculated. I can't just react. That's a fool. Only a fool just react because there's consequences in your reaction. Now, if you react the wrong way and let's say it's 3 men, and one of the men, you in a club that one of the men own, and 2 of the men is his boys. It's you, your wife, and those 3. Y'all are only ones in the bar. He calls your wife a B right in front of you. Do you leave your wife there and go and get into a scrap, get knocked out, and they all gang rape your wife? Or what are we playing? This ain't chess. I mean, this ain't checkers, this chess. You gotta think about everything before you actually do it. And people are saying, oh yeah, well, you know what I'm saying? You did right. No, you didn't. If you wasn't a millionaire, if you didn't have that type of money, you would be actually locked up. And if it wasn't for Chris Rock, you would be locked up right now. Do you really want the world that you asked him for? Because that man that you told to do that is now behind bars. You don't have nobody to take care of you. And if things were set up, even if you got finances, you don't have that physical situation. And depending on how y'all relationship was in the first place, like when y'all was talking about the fact of, is the woman valuable enough for you to protect her? Well, if the woman is valuable enough, you gotta watch how you gonna protect her. Yeah, the average female that you're actually dealing with, if you're dealing with a woman that is, put it like this, if you're dealing with a woman that is submissive, lovable, nurturing, supportive, she's that beautiful from inside, she's that one, she's that jewel, yeah, you're gonna protect her, but protecting her more is not walking up on that stage and leaving your wife in that chair, right? Protecting her more is, hey baby, let's get on out of here. Like if you feeling that, you feel uncomfortable, let's get out of here, because we don't want to expose this in front of our children and make our children feel that this is the way that we need to protect each other physically in a world that they will shoot you down on the street. Right? We gotta be smart. Now, if aggressed upon physically, we aggress back physically. If aggressed upon vocally, we aggress up back vocally. But we don't play with the devil. I think Denzel, what he said was the smartest thing a person could have said. The devil attacks you at your highest moment. Right?
It was.
And he came like a brother. He came like a brother, and that was a good moment. That was a good look. Denzel really gave us that look back again. I can't get all into Will because Will done had so much spilt on him, and this is a man that's in. See, people just take it because Will got so much money. They don't understand what happens when a man is not in his proper place to rule. When your children rule, when your children telling you what to do, when your wife, get him, William, when your wife got that type of power, you are depowered, demasked, it's just a mess, and ain't nothing good gonna come from that. That's why everybody felt like he was on remote control, because he had something to prove. See, a man that's in control of his house, he don't got nothing to prove. He thinking in his mind, what is the smartest thing to do right now? Now, what's the emotional thing? Because I don't got nothing to prove. I don't got to prove to you that I'm a man. You already know I'm a man. This is about survival. This is about what happens after today. Chris Rock had to think about, if I try to strike back, and trust me, by no means, William is not no punk. He is highly trained, right? If you know anything about him, he is highly trained, right? But Chris Rock had to think, if I strike back, will the Oscars ever use me again? If will I lose this check? Would I lose my future? And he thought, did I overstep? But let's talk about that for a second.
I don't think Chris.
Go ahead.
I loved his professionalism.
Yep.
Throughout everything, I love how he maintained his composure. I just felt like he took the higher road. You know what I mean? He was professional the whole time, and I gained more respect for him in that moment because of how he handled it.
I watch, I don't know if it's art imitating life or life imitating art, but one of our favorite shows in the barbershop that everybody enjoys watching is Everybody Hates Chris. And Everybody Hates Chris is pretty much accurate how Chris reacted the other day. On Everybody Hates Chris, Chris is constantly getting bullied, and he never really strikes back. His mouth gets him bullied, or his mouth gets him in some trouble, or his mouth get him robbed or smacked. He says something on the TV show. It reflects his life when he was a kid, growing up in Brooklyn, right? And I had to think, like, this was a Everybody Hates Chris moment. This is exactly what happens on the show. Exactly what happened his entire life. He's never been the guy to strike back. He's always been the guy. So it appears that he was taking the high road, but it was by default, because this is how he's always been.
He's just not a guy that strikes back. He strikes back. He strikes back in other ways. Like he said, the guy that beat him up back in the day. He talked about the guy that beat him up back in the day, or something like that. And now he basically got him back by like just growing, making him see his his success. And how the guy that beat him up is doing bad now. And he came across him one day in a bar or something like that in New York. And he just, you know, wished him, really didn't say too much with him, wished him well, and just never helped him out, but helped people out around him that he knew. And that's how he gets people back, right? So you best believe Chris is going to get Will back probably with this show that he's doing. He's coming to the Lyric too. I'm trying to go to that. Tickets are $100 right now, but they're going to go up. But Chris doesn't strike back physically. He strikes back in other ways.
Yeah, I think Chris definitely handled it right. Right, he handled it smart.
Yeah,
he handled it right for what he was into. If they would have gotten to a straight up bash, all of them would have went to jail. And Chris, when they asked him to actually press charges, because he was asked to press charges, he didn't. He said he wouldn't do it. Right. So for that, Chris is really a stand up guy. You know, all the way around. When you look at this, he's really a stand up guy. When I look at Will Smith and what happened, no, I don't appreciate what Will did, but I feel like Will is, if anybody could ever pull a victim card, right? If you look at his life, you know, like this is Will Smith, right? The man is physically dominant. He is financially dominant, and he has a good mind. If you ever heard him speak. So you take a man like that, right, and you put him under his wife, and not only under his wife, it's like even some of the things he went through with his children showed that he wasn't ahead. You know what I mean? Not that he didn't want to be. He wasn't ahead. So being and that's no kick. He had the power. He had the finances. You know, but as long as he's not the head, the results. The results is going to be the same. It's always going to be the same. It makes no difference whether you poor. It makes no difference whether you're rich. Now, he wasn't ahead, but he actually loved her with the love that a man's supposed to give a woman that is submitting and that is a nurturer. He gave his wife the love that a man's supposed to give that type of a woman, right? Not saying that she can't be that type of a woman. Right, but if you put a woman in that type of position where I'm going to treat you like this regardless, right? Then she feels like, well, I can do this, I can rule, right? And you're going to treat me like this regardless because you don't want to lose me, right? You see what I mean? Right. I told my son one time, I said, listen. I said, this is what you do. I said, you do very, very, very well by your woman. You do everything that you're supposed to do, right? So that way, if you ever pull it back because things get disrespectful, she got something to miss, right? But if she can be any kind of way, and then you accept this because you feel that you have to, and like we can't say we understand his life because he don't want to lose his children. He don't want to. He got other things involved. You know what I'm saying? He's not just talking about $50 in a bank. You know, he talking about it's something else going on here, right? But I think from the beginning, she ruled, and this is the result. The if you want to look at it totally, the result of being under a place where you should be on top. And because I really believe if he was on top, he would have handled it differently. He would have handled it the way he almost handled it. Hey, he's just joking. Hey, he's just joking. We going just and she wouldn't have had the power to give that look. He the only one that gives that look. You know, that look comes from like no woman that I'm dealing with could get that look because she ain't doing time for me. She not taking the slug. So it's
that's my biggest thing.
I give the look. And if it's a worthy woman, right? Now, we just got a gentleman that came on the phone, right? Sheldon, that does have one of those wives. He got a wife that is worth taking a bullet for, right? A feminine, nurturer type of situation, right? But if he's the head, he will have to make a decision while he's sitting in that seat. And I don't know if my brother would make a decision to walk on the floor in front of not even.
Let me cut you off, but I felt it was a time to chime. You know? It's like it messed with me a little bit. It messed with me a little bit. You know? Because I'm like, what in the blue hell possessed you to walk up like you just came off the set of iRobot or freaking I Am Legend and smack Chris Rock?
He put the John Hancock on him.
Yeah, the John Hancock.
Not just the John Hancock. If you saw his other hand, I don't know if y'all peeped this, right? If you saw Will's other hand, if you watch the pictures, right? Really slow this thing down, right?
Yeah, I seen it in slow motion.
If Chris Rock would have tried to retaliate, what was coming next would have been on some iRobot movie. Because he was in a position. That first smack was, and he backed that joint up. This joint was like this. I knew what came next. I even know the move. I studied it. Right. That it wasn't nice, right? It wouldn't have been good at all. It'd have been, matter of fact, after that, they'd be like, we'll really know that shit. You know, that's how it would have been. Chris was smart. Right. Chris kept his hands like this, right? And I didn't know if it meant because of the lawsuit afterwards or it's going to be hitting, but I don't know if Chris going to do that because Chris already told the daggone cops, you know what I'm saying? Nah, he ain't pressing no charges. So either they doing stuff behind closed doors or who knows? Chris might just be like, nah, I don't need your money. You know, if I made you feel like that, you know, blah, blah, blah. And that is super duper duper stand up.
Right, exactly.
It just messed with it. It just messed with it. Because you sit up there and talk, you know, you smacked it. Then you went back to your seat. You said what you said, yelled what you yelled. I'm like, okay, let me think here for a minute, because a lot of things going through my mind. A lot of things. Did you smack Augustine? Because he had a little bit more her name in his mouth.
Right.
I'm just saying.
But you know,
it's like you like I feel like, see, okay, I'm gonna preposition this a little bit. I ain't got no beef with Will or Jay. I got no beef with them. You do what you do, but stop playing. Nobody believed that you was in a monogamous relationship for I don't know how long.
Right.
For how long? You ain't fooling nobody. But you took it upon yourself to bring that more to the light as if, okay, oh my gosh, I was hurt by that. I couldn't believe you did that. No, Jada, tell them what it is. Okay, who was defending Jada when you was pretty much trying to make her out herself? Owie. It was like, you like, no, don't say no entanglement. Say what it was. That's still your wife last check.
Did Will want to do the red table? Because on a show that I was listening to yesterday, they was here, they was doing their show. Their take was that Will never really wanted to be a part of that red table. That I don't know, you know. Anybody know anything about that?
I've heard that too. Yeah, I've heard that many times, that it wasn't something he was willing to do. I think because they've always promoted that their relationship is an open book. Maybe he decided to take one for the team, but I think in the beginning he was always against that. I don't think I would want my business on Front Street. And I have to go back to what Shan Q said. he's been the butt of every joke. He's taken a lot over time to appease Jada. I guess at some point you do have a breaking point.
Now Shannon said some stuff that I
And
didn't
even
know.
taking it.
He said some stuff that I didn't know about, so verify this, right? He said that he mentioned about, she mentioned about his performance. She mentioned about size. Once that is mentioned, right, technically the relationship is over. You know, so
it's true. I agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
Yeah, she's humiliated the man in the sexual department, and how and on so many levels. It's like she just kept doing it. Like it was the first big blow with August. Right, and then she came back like a couple months later with something else, and then she came back with something else, and then she came back with something else. Like, damn, you know. So it's like, ladies, stop. And it's like men want now that a man's prayer is God send me a wife, but nothing like Jada. You see, so and then the stuff that people say, well, have you heard what people have said? Have you heard what Will has put in his book? And Will has put in his book about he fantasized or wanted to sleep with some old white woman or something. But yeah, he fantasized about it. He wanted to do that, but he's never put it out there that he's sleeping with somebody that a friend of the family. I mean, a friend of the family. He's never said that she's not great in bed, or she's too loose, or he's never went to the thing that she went to just for some views and a like button.
Yeah. Now,
that's what it's really for.
Now,
she is jealous and envious of the
That's what it boils down to.
The height that Will has got. It is. She wants that, and she can't get it.
Now, Sheldon, I'm gonna let you say something, but I'm gonna have to. We're about prepare for another show. Now, but you got something on your mind. Go ahead and say it.
I need to know if all that Q was saying is true, and Q was, you know, he really or whatever. What the blue hell is he defending? You ain't got a wife.
That's right.
That's my point.
That's right.
That's my point.
That's his point. Let's talk.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, listen. So listen, we're gonna have to see y'all again on Let's Talk. But the cool thing, at least we came into the same understanding. You know that.
Right.
It's really crazy, and this is no disrespect to his family. We understand, but we need to learn from this lesson because of the fact that we got to put things back into the proper perspective, or we all doomed, man. Anyway, thank you, Queen Jackie, for coming. Thank you, Shan Kushab. Thank you, Uncle Sheldon. And anybody that watches Relationship Don't Bust My Head, we won't be on this week. We got to go to the film festival, but we will be back next week. Same Coyote place. Same Coyote channel. Thank y'all.
Peace.
All right.